I began mastering these 5 skills and my life completely changed. I'm making more money than ever, my social connections are stronger than ever, and I've realized that I'm now pretty much immune to any trends, recessions, and yes, even the upcoming AI revolution. So to save you a lot of time, struggle, and heartache, here are the 5 skills that will pay off forever. Growing up, I had extreme social anxiety. I had what the youngsters would call negative riz. I struggled talking to girls, I struggled talking to guys I wanted to be friends with, and overall I just couldn't communicate my thoughts very well or hold someone else's attention for that long. They often dismissed me actually. And once I graduated from high school, moved to a big city, I wanted to be successful, I wanted to make it, I quickly realized how much this was holding me back because I lacked the crucial evergreen skill that is communication. And I'm not just talking about being a pro yapper. I can yap. I've always been able to yap. But communicating your thoughts in an effective and articulate way, regardless of if it's spoken or written. And pretty much the moment I started working to improve this, everything changed. My YouTube channel was popping off. I got that cool little silver play button back there. And literally every single relationship I had improved immensely, and people found that they actually enjoyed speaking with me and wanted to conversate with me because I was just so effective at communication. And obviously me being a content creator helps because I'm literally practicing and speaking to a camera and writing all the time. But there are 2 things that I did and that you could do starting today that I promise will just revolutionize the way you be spitting and writing, you feel me? The first thing being, I started talking to myself, and while for the FBI agent that spies on me, it appears that I'm schizophrenic, what I was actually doing was improving my ability to yap on the fly about certain topics that I want to yap about. And what I would do, because I'm a consumer just like you, I love listening to podcasts, audiobooks, YouTube videos, is that when a topic came up that I noticed my brain generating thoughts about, I would pause that piece of content and begin talking about it as if I'm in the video or on the podcast I'm listening to. And I would notice any times I was struggling to articulate or explain what I'm trying to explain, and then my brain and subconscious mind would start to work on it, and I would get better and better at it over time. And the other side of the coin, the thing that shockingly improved my speaking the most was writing. And well, of course, there's all these fancy schmancy methods to journal and type and do all these things. Honestly, all I did was anytime I got super anxious or overwhelmed or stressed, I would just dump all of my thoughts onto a piece of paper. And when you do that, when you remove things from the conscious mind onto a physical piece of paper, magic happens. You are able to just have this pulled back perspective and also notice the way you explain things, and because it's literally written down in front of you, you can see where there's room for improvement. Just combining those 2 practices over time will make you insanely articulate and just magnetic. People will love to talk to you because while most people love to talk, it's actually pretty rare for people to be good at talking. And this is only getting more valuable because as AI evolves and continues to threaten jobs, especially that involve numbers and math, society is shifting to favor those that have strong communication and speaking skills. And don't take it from me because I'm literally just quoting Peter Thiel, venture capitalist and founder of PayPal. And I don't know about you, but I don't plan on trading my relationships for AI anytime soon. I don't care how nice the AI boobies are generating nowadays. But if you pair communication with this next skill, you will have the cheat code to literally 99% of the high value career paths out there. What does Steve Jobs, Tony Robbins, and even Andrew Tate all have in common? Well, whether you like them or not, their success and their impact on the world is undeniable because they paired their communication skills with persuasion. Persuasion is one of the most misunderstood arts there is, which is ironic considering the majority of communication is done with the underlying intention of persuading whoever is on the opposite end of it. When I shifted from vlogging to educational content, it sucked. I was talking about things that literally changed my life, and yet it wasn't changing anyone else's. And it wasn't until I began learning about persuasion that I realized that pretty much no one takes action just based off information. They need to be emotionally triggered in order to do it. That's why your homie will get broken up with a girl and all of a sudden he's on that Sigma male grind set posting funk gym edits on TikTok. And what helped me the most was not watching surface level sales tactics or charisma YouTube videos. It was going to the source, human psychology. And that changed everything. Now I get tons of comments, emails, DMs of people that were saying, oh, this video or that video changed my life and I did this thing and now everything's better, because I had to persuade them to do so. Plus, while technology and online algorithms will always continue to change and evolve, psychology and the human algorithms will always remain the same. Therefore, this skill is forever. But once you become an effective persuasive communicator, it only makes sense to get in on a portion of the economy that is poised to double by 2027. And you can do that through content creation. And no, I'm not talking about becoming the next Mr. Beast or PewDiePie. I'm just talking about making content about things you're interested in or the thing you do, the career path you want to pursue, because you're going to build massive amounts of connections and social leverage. This is why you're seeing even people who are already successful in some kind of endeavor, maybe they're a business owner, starting to make things like TikToks, Reels, Instagram, and mainly one of the most powerful vessels, YouTube videos. And I saw this firsthand when I helped my friend Caleb create a YouTube video. Caleb is a marketer, he has a marketing agency, and it was his best performing video to date. And not only that, but it was watched by the owner of a massive clothing brand that you've probably heard of, but I'm not allowed to say, and it resulted in him signing Caleb and becoming a client that now pays Caleb thousands of dollars a month off of one YouTube video. Furthermore, content creation is the quickest and best way to build a personal brand, which has quickly became the fastest vessel to achieve creative, time, and even financial freedom through the internet. That is what is so powerful about content creation, because it doesn't matter who you are. If you understand communication and persuasion, you can talk about your interests to like-minded people and eventually monetize it in a million different ways. There's ad revenue. I mean, you can sell physical products, you can sell merch. My personal favorite is selling information, selling education. That is what allowed me to now live the life that I get to live, because I teach personal development and then I teach even more advanced personal development, and I help thousands of people. Now, obviously, there's a lot of nuance to content creation, but the single biggest lever moving thing you can do before you even make your first piece of content is just by figuring out who's your target audience. Who are you talking to? The more specific, the better, because if you can paint the image of the person you're trying to talk to on the other end of the camera, like I'm doing right now, speaking to you, it makes anything you want to talk about infinitely more impactful on the viewer. I'm not gonna lie, these next two skills are high level, but they will not only help you to become successful or whatever you want to achieve, but they will change literally every facet about your life. But real quick, if you're interested in learning how I use psychology to create compelling content, build a personal brand, and run a hyper profitable solo business, then click the link in the description and join the Alchemist list, because you will get a free ticket to my live training where I will break down what I believe is the best path for literally anyone who likes the idea of being a creator and having an online business. It's exactly what I did, and you can tell it changed my life. As the notorious B.I.G. said, "Mo money, mo problems." And as you continue to pursue the freedom and status and achievements that you desire, problems aren't just possible, they are guaranteed. But you can learn the mental karate required to chop past any problems you encounter by just copying what billionaires like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Peter Thiel do. First principles thinking. As humans, our default way for approaching obstacles and problems in our life is typically through assumption and metaphor, which is great for saving mental energy, but not very effective for finding real solutions in life. First principles thinking is when you take literally anything and whittle it down to its foundation, to the point where you understand literally every little aspect of the thing you're working on or the problem you're trying to solve. And I'm not gonna lie, it sounds complex. It sounds very big brain, and it is, but there are two methods that you can do that make first principles thinking pretty damn easy. The first method being Socratic Reasoning, named after big brain, cool philosopher guy, Socrates, which is clarify your thinking and its origins, challenge assumptions, seek evidence, consider alternative perspectives, and examine the consequences. And I'll tell you what, I'm just gonna put questions you can ask yourself on the screen right now. So you can only just screenshot this and pull it out and use it whenever you wanna do some first principle thinking. And if you wanna get even simpler with it, you can just do the second method, and that is why maxing. And it is exactly what you think it is. You just keep asking yourself why over and over and over until you get to a core principle, a core answer of what you're trying to solve. Typically what I find is you want to ask yourself why at least around 5 times. And whichever way you decide to do, all you're really doing is breaking down your ideas and beliefs down into their core principles and then reconstructing it in a better way than previous, because you now understand it fully. And if you pair this with the communication skills, people are going to look at you like you are a big brain Albert Einstein genius guy. But finally, look, I know you are probably sick of hearing about the matrices from everyone, but I can assure you what I'm speaking of is something different, and it's something you genuinely need to escape. Because most gurus, they speak about the financial, educational, and political systems as these so-called matrices that you need to break out of, whatever. But in reality, instead of looking external, you need to look internal. Because the real issue that we see with the majority of the population, I know people like to call them NPCs, which I know can seem kind of rude, but it's a decent way to describe them, doesn't actually equate to the yearly salary they make or the college they attended. It is the fact that they lack the skill of metacognition, which is essentially you regaining executive control over your mind, a mind that has been polluted by society, media, music, parents, and yes, the education system. And it unlocks true control, and not only control, but self-awareness, awareness over the mind, because the issue is everyone thinks they're self-aware, but they think that because they lack self-awareness. And while I can go on and on about the benefits, it's literally what 180'd my life, changed my mental health, gave me insane amounts of focus and emotional control. The core benefit is that you simply become able to prevent yourself from making emotional decisions or decisions based on your prior subconscious programming, which for all of us is often false. Now, earlier in the video, I actually mentioned something that helped me a decent amount in terms of raising my metacognition and self-awareness, and that is by writing down my thoughts, especially when I feel stressed out or overwhelmed. But the one practice that I mention in almost all my videos that you're probably sick of hearing, but it changed my life, is meditation. And not only my life, but thousands of people that have done my free 5-day meditation series in the description, and all of my students in Conscious Catalyst, which is my full 30-day meditation series to take you from a beginner to a master of metacognition. But I'm not gonna lie, there is one more skill slash trait that if you develop it, it will open so many doors in your life. And not only that, but strengthen and build the relationships you want to build. And overall, it was the hack that got me elite levels of mental health when paired with meditation. And that is by becoming effortlessly confident. So if you click the video on the screen right now, I will talk about the single mental shift that once you go through, you unlock effortless confidence. That means no matter what situation you're in externally, you will always remain internally confident. So click the video on the screen right now, you know what I'm saying?